While reaching the end of a game's development, perspective on the project dramatically changes. No longer are grand, sweeping features the focus. They essentially can't be. Everything becomes less and less about the potential to create anything and everything, and ever more on the limitations enforced by what you've already built. It is impossible to predict all of the consequences of earlier design decisions, even with years of planning. As such, no work will ever be perfect. But what is far more important than striving for perfection is simply completion. During this past year, I've made far fewer video updates, as the progress being made is fundamentally not new anymore. I am polishing and finalizing the existing features and adding much more strategic content that relies on the heck of a lot of existing code and assets. I'm trying to wrap up the project, which is just not nearly as exciting as starting it. I have worked on this project since early 2017. I'm nowhere near the same person. I can't even genuinely recall my original vision of that game, as it's been clouded and distorted by the real things that I've managed to create in that pursuit. However, despite the doubt, I am exceedingly proud of what I have built and accomplished. I may be in the thick of the dreaded final 20% of this massive solo endeavor, but my confidence and joy in this project are unwavering. And for the many of you that haven't seen or experienced this project yet, believe me that there is tremendous fun and novelty to be found. So what is this project anyways, you may ask? It has been months since I explained anything after all. Trials of Imorah is a 2D platforming adventure with a heavy emphasis on combat and open exploration. Journey through 10 vast handcrafted levels filled with many types of enemies, magical spells, and weapons. It's impossible for me to fully cover the complexity of this game's world, but as a few examples of the depth of the interconnected systems I've pursued in this years-long project, some exciting features include lighting enemies and the environment on fire, electrocuting enemies and the environment in water, deflecting projectiles and explosives with your magic shield, piercing enemy shields with dark magic, blocking incoming attacks with a clone of yourself, freezing things in water and freezing the water itself to forge a pathway, laying traps to strike unsuspecting foes, turning grass into a storm of thorns, magically striking many targets all at once, dropping spikes and explosives on enemies, causing earthquakes, and even condemning enemies to life as an undead abomination. And all of these mechanics are just derived from the items. I definitely don't have time to cover all of the rune upgrades you can find to modify your base weapons. I want there to be so many options for combat so that everyone can find their favorite way to overcome the trials. This project has been overly ambitious from the start, but as far as I'm concerned, that is the only type of game worth making. So with all of that said, let me address some of the progress that has been made over this past year. First by checking out the list of items I wanted to work on in the update video from last year. There is now a system in place for achievements to appear in Steam. About a third of the planned achievements are now implemented. Once setting up the communication to Steam, it's actually very easy to add more and more achievements, so I have no concerns about adding the rest of the roughly 50 planned achievements. These achievements will include making simple progress through the story, collecting a certain amount of upgrades, silly random behavior, and of course, more difficult speedrunning or deathless challenges. Controller support after all this time, yes, very exciting. I need to do a formal sweep and will have adjustments as a few more menu tweaks are going to have to be made, but it is safe to say that the game now properly offers support for Xbox and PlayStation controllers. Regarding new side quests, I did add a side quest to level 4, and I completed a core side quest on level 1, but the side quests previously discussed for level 2 and 3 are still not implemented. I hope to add those in some form, but they unfortunately have been made very low priority, as other side quests are present in those areas, so we'll see what happens. Several new NPCs were added, most importantly being the Soul Merchant. They now act as the method of refunding and respeccing your stats. They'll refund you your stray souls for a cost of 33 gold, and you can respend them accordingly, prioritizing your axe, your bow, or your magic spells. There is not yet a lore book on every single level, but I have added more. It is important to me that this world is fleshed out for those of you that want to explore everything about it. Now, for addressing the actual core route and purpose of the game, levels 8, 9, and 10. When I made last year's major update video, level 8, the Palace of Illusion, was nearly complete, so that was a given. I had the boss wrapped up within a few weeks from that last video. Throughout the year, I of course added final tweaks, such as a use for the Haze enemies drop item, and quite usefully added a map to the area. But yes, Imorah, the boss for that level, has been fully implemented, and I moved on to level 9, which was also fully completed. I added several new ice-themed enemies and built a massive underground Arctic region to explore. There are some simple freezing puzzles and mechanics to interact with, and some fire and lava spotted around for some diversity, but this level is primarily just a brutal stretch of traps and enemies before the end of the game. I tried to make the boss as difficult as possible, so you all will have to let me know how I did. If nothing else, I am very proud of the atmosphere I've accomplished. A year ago, I did not actually expect myself to have level 10 completed by now, and I don't, but I have made a solid chunk of progress. I don't want to share much more than that, as it is literally the end of the game, but you can likely expect me to have it finished by the end of the year. In the update from last year, I talked about a couple of side areas that I wanted to have complete, and none of them are 100% complete, but they are all nearly complete. So first off, the Vault. To explain it again, it is a region accessible very early on in the game, but requires equipment from the first 8 levels to complete. It is a place to return to constantly for more treasures over time. The remaining progress is essentially just waiting for all enemy types to be done, so I can actually design the final combat sections there. The Colosseum of Greed is an actual place now. You can take on waves of enemies and rematch a boss there. I'm still working on building each of the unique maps, as there will be a mode for randomized fights for those ever looking for more trials to face. I would also like to add a unique shopkeeper for the area, as otherwise it's a bit tedious backtracking elsewhere for supplies. But yeah, we're making great progress. Then lastly, the Lower Chasm is also nearly complete. This bonus area connects levels 6, 7, and 8 together. It allows for faster backtracking and access to even more secrets. There are already plenty of puzzles, enemies, and obstacles to encounter, but there's still a few remaining corridors that are kind of lacking content still. This will definitely be completed in the next 12 months. So not everything on that old list has been addressed, but I'll continue working on them. It was very satisfying to mark off a good bulk of them though. Before outlining the goals for this year, I would like to report one other major item of progress. As of a few weeks ago, all runes have now been implemented. Depending on how you count them, there are now 78 unique upgrades for your axe, bow, and shield. These modify your stats, your attack behavior. Frankly, they can make you brutally overpowered, but they are hidden in Imorah well off the beaten path. A casual playthrough will likely fail to find most of these, so take that as a challenge to find them all. I cannot wait to see how players absolutely atomize bosses with their unique builds. So with that, what are the remaining items for this 10th year of game development on Trials of Imorah? Here's a quick list. We are nearing the end of the game, so most of the goals are self-explanatory. As you may have gathered from my focus on the end of the game and polishing, I'm very much hoping to have good news the next time that we meet for a yearly update. As I've discussed elsewhere, I don't believe the game will be launching in early 2027. But by then, I should know when it will be launching. For now, I will continue my work to bring about the vision I had all those years ago. I hope to make myself and all of you proud. Thanks again to everyone who has playtested the game and encouraged me over these years. I cannot wait to be able to say that this is complete, so I can finally have a different answer when you all ask me, how's the game going? Despite all the chaos in the world right now, I hope you all have an amazing 2026, and I'll talk to you all later.